All right, we're getting into the electric guitars now. Electric guitars are a lot like everything else that's not an acoustic guitar or a mandolin. They're just something that I mess around with for fun. Um, Learn how they're put together, learn how to mess with things, learn electronics and things like that. So this one of our subscribers commented on that, and this is a B-Bender Telecaster, and this is my first Telecaster, actually a second Telecaster, but I had a Telecaster back in like 1981, 81 or 82. 81. When I was at South Penn College, we went on a trip back east, back to West Virginia, and I bought a Telecaster in Nashville. It was a 70s Telecaster. I knew nothing about them, and that particular guitar was really horrible for some reason. It had the most noise in the world. If you put your fingers down like that, it just you'd hear all this noise. Anyway, I ended up selling that guitar a couple years later because I didn't know anything about them. I should have kept it. God, it was probably a '78 Telecaster. The blonde, that's the white one. The white one had a black guard on it. Anyway, I didn't have an electric guitar for a long, long time, and then about 1990 maybe, I got really, really frustrated with acoustic guitar because I just couldn't play it. I got sick of it. I was trying too hard, you know. I threw my Martin in the closet, and I went out and bought a Stratocaster. I bought a black. Again, I didn't know anything about these things back then. You know, information is a lot harder to come by. I bought a black Japanese Strat, and I bought a KMD amp, and went home, and all I did for maybe a month was just make noise on it. You know, had a whammy bar because my other guitar was a Tele, so I'd never had a Strat. I had a whammy bar, and I whammied on it, and I banged on the headstock, and I made these noises, and I just went. That's all I did, you know. But it was relaxing, and then it was fun, and all of a sudden, guitar was fun. I spent a lot of time actually doing a simple thing like that, see what I could do with my hand, you know. I had a lot of fun. It was almost like a marriage of mandolin and guitar because, you know, mandolin you're doing your chopping. I love playing rhythm on mandolin. Um, that's why I like playing bass. You know, I like playing rhythm. So I sat there with that Strat and I did that kind of thing. And then eventually I started working on Jimmy Vaughn solos from the Fabulous Thunderbirds. I love the Fabulous Thunderbirds. And Jimmy's solos were really simple. And I knew Jimmy was a really good guitar player, so his solos were like deceptively simple, you know. But I thought, you know, here's a blues guy. I mean, he's putting this out, and I'm going to sit there and learn some of these things. And I did. I sat down, I learned things by ear for the first time ever, you know. God, I mean, that's a solo, you know. But what I learned a lot. I learned how to use just a few notes and how to make them count and how to vary your attack, just all these things. So I played electric guitar like that. Never played in a band or anything. You know, just sat there and worked on these things and figured out things. And then when I picked up the acoustic guitar again, probably a year and a half later, whew, man! I mean, I was good. I came back with a whole different attitude. I was relaxed on it. I realized they didn't have to sound like Tony Rice. Not every single solo had to be uh, a groundbreaking solo, which I'm not going to make a groundbreaking solo anyways. I learned the value of simplicity. I learned the value of repeating licks, playing the same note twice, which, you know, as simple as it sounds, I mean, I wouldn't do that part of that if I thought a bluegrass solo's got to move, everything's got to move, and it was really difficult for me to sit there and play the same note twice, which I've gotten over that, especially on the mandolin. Once I really started studying Sam Bush stuff on mandolin, Bill Monroe, those guys. Yeah, I figured, okay, yeah, you can play simple stuff sometimes. So, but the electric guitar kind of gave me that, and so after I kept the Strat for quite a while. I actually ended up keeping it for 10 years or so, and I gave it to somebody in the town we used to live in. And he gave me, which I'm kicking myself to this day for selling it, he gave me a black face Princeton reverb from like 1966. Man, wish I had that back. But I had a medical thing I had to do. I needed money. I sold that amp, which was stupid. So, but I got something better over here. Anyway, so that's electric guitar, okay? It's just something that I mess around with. I owe something to electric guitar for teaching me how to play bluegrass guitar. And on electric guitar these days, I just do hybrid picking. I do things. But this is back to the Telecaster. I decided, I want to get a Telecaster because I haven't had one since the blonde one, way back when. So I went to Denver. I had to go to Denver for something. I stopped in the big guitar center there. I played every single Tele and Strat they had, and I found a couple of them that really sparked my interest. One of them, I can't remember the other one. It's probably a '52 reissue, and then the other one was a James Burton Standard. Not the Paisley one, the James Burton Standard. I thought, wow, man, this is nice for some reason or other. I mentioned that to a friend of mine. He said, oh, there's a James Burton used sitting over here at Dave's Guitar Shop in Wisconsin. I ended up trading him guitar work, and I had his guitar at the time. And I said, why don't you just go get that guitar for me, and I'll trade you guitar work for it. Great. So he got me this, James Burton Standard. Gosh, this guitar's been through a lot of changes. The only thing stock on it anymore is, not even the control panel. The switches, the knobs right here, and the body. Everything else is changed. It's a different neck. This is an all parts. Yeah, this is an all parts neck. This neck has been on so many guitars. This is an all parts neck. And I don't remember which one this is, but this is like the fat Tele neck. It's not really fat, but it has a flatter radius on it, 10-inch radius. It's got a flatter radius on it. I got it. It had great big frets on it. I hated them. Pulled them off. I put Gold Evo frets on here, 4380 standard fret. I do not like big frets. I'm kind of got used to them on electric, but I refretted it, refinished it a little bit. I think it came as a plain neck. I sprayed Re-Ranch and French polish shellac on it. Put a fake sticker on it. Put staggered height tuners on it, so the pegs on these are lower. Anyway, did that neck. It's got that neck. It's been through a million pickups because that's part of the thing about having one of these is I want to play with electric guitar and find out stuff about it. Been through a million different pickups. Right now, it's got Lawler, the Chirogenics, the ones that he freezes. And I didn't buy these. I got these in trade from a friend who wanted me to swap the pickups on his Telecaster. He said, you just keep those pickups. So I thought, oh, cool, So I put them in this guitar, and in this guitar, they are magic. I put them in some of the other Telecasters I have, the blonde one over here. I put them in every Telecaster I had, and they sounded good, but in this guitar, they're magic. These are just fantastic pickups. So they've been in here for a long time now, at least 10 years now, which is amazing. The bridge has been changed. This has a 52 reissue bridge. It's got staggered saddles, brass saddles for intonation purposes. It's got a control plate with the angled switch on it, which is, I'm an all parts dealer, and I thought I'm going to try that, so I put that angled switch on there just to see what it does. 3-way switch. The knobs are the same off the James Burton. I like these. These are 70s knobs. They're square. Let me give it to you. They're This kind. It's got a mitt. It's got that pickguard on it. That's from all parts. I'm sure I've drilled holes for it to fit. The pickguard, I like to have my neck pickup anchored to the wood. And first of all, it makes it easier to change pickguards. I've got a lot of cool pickguards for this. I've got an El Dorado tool, black leather. I've got a Bakelite, 52 black. It looks really cool with this. I change pickguards once in a while, but so far this one stayed on it for quite a while. I like that one. The main thing that this guitar's got is a B-bender. And I wanted a B-bender. I wanted to try bending it, but they're so expensive. Anyway, I have a friend, Troy Seeley. And man, that's a long story. I'm not going to go into the whole Troy Seeley story, but it's a riot. I mean, I'll tell you the story sometime. But anyway, Troy emails me one day and he says, "Hey, you still looking for a B-bender?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we've got this one back here in the back that, somebody never came in and claimed. They ordered it and they never came in and got it." Something like that. And I said, "Sure, how much you want?" He said, $100. Whoa, yeah, I want it. So he sent me the B-bender and I installed it. And I did a super sloppy installation here because I didn't have the patience to make the router box like you're supposed to make. And I just hand routed the dumb thing because the wood doesn't care. As long as the B-bender gets in there, it doesn't care how much wood is around it or anything. So after a while, I used to have a base plate that stuck out. And you wouldn't think that 1/8 of an inch of a base plate would, but it drove me crazy because it just, it didn't feel right, So one day I went in and I inset a plexiglass plate and I put guitar kerfing on the inside here and I just screwed that plate on here. So now this is flush and you can look at the B-bender and I can show it to people how the B-bender works. I've got a picture of Clarence right here, which is really cool. Got a little sticker of Clarence right there. He's getting a little bit frayed. I need to spray him with lacquer or something. Clarence, of course, is the guy that him and Gene Parsons did the B-bender. Now mine is kind of interesting here because after I played with it for a while, and I started listening to Brad Paisley and other guys that have G-benders, I wonder what a G-bender would be like. So I modified this and I put, this is just a strap peg. And I screwed this strap peg in here so that I can take the G string and run it around that. It comes down here and it comes down to the B bender. And I can turn this into a G bender in 10 minutes, And I've gone back and forth with the B and the G several times. So I'll smooth this in here and you can see it. So what happens is you would just take the G string and it would run around that peg and then come down into here. And yeah, it makes a little bit of a sharp bend, but that peg rotates and it works really good. You can convert your B bender to a G bender in not very much time at all if you ever want to play with it. And after playing with it, I decided I like the B better. I like the twangy kind of thing. So, if you've never heard a B bender, here's what they do. You got to get up here on the edge of your chair to do this because you got to pull down. You pull down on the strap and it rotates this little knob right here. Lots of videos on that, so we won't do too much. Okay, that's a B bender, and I modified mine so that it's kind of a medium-long throw. You can, Clarence's original was what we would call a long throw. It's got over an inch of travel where you got to pull. It makes those notes longer. So some B benders have a short travel, and they go boop, and it's almost like a light switch. Clarence's is a long bender, so it goes. Takes a long time to get there, and you go through the notes. It gives you more control, in my experience, limited experience, of how you do those notes. So instead of just going, fast like that, you can control how you do that note. So you could go like this. You could wait. You could hit the notes and you can wait and boom, bring them up quick. You can bring them up evenly. Let's see if I can get all three of them. You can do it like that, evenly. You could do it slow. You could do it fast. Almost like a light switch again. I just feel like you have more control over the long throw. And when you get good at it, which I'm not, you can do half step bends a little bit easier. So let's see. I'm not going to the stop. I'm trying to stop halfway on that F. Tricky. I mean, you got to practice a lot. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough good enough here to do it. But I like the long throw. So this is a long throw bender. This is my #1 Telecaster. I have three Telecasters. I like them all equally. They're all different. But if the house was burning down and I had to grab one, I would grab this one because of the B-bender. Because it's the most versatile Telecaster that I have. I'll run you through the pickups real quick. Here's the front, and I have this tone knob wired. I think I have a 500K volume in here. I have this wired so that when I turn that treble up and I go to the bridge pickup, it is ear-piercing. So anytime you go to the bridge, you roll the treble back down. But what that means is that when you go to the neck pickup, now you can bring that treble up and you have a clear neck pickup. Here's the neck, okay? That's with the treble all the way up. Take the treble all the way down. Pretty usable sound, you know. Put it in the middle. So, you go to the middle. I'm going to leave the tone alone now. I'm going to leave it in the middle. Here's what the middle pickup combination on this guitar sounds like. And then the bridge. So, I feel like this guitar has got a lot of usable sounds to it. Here's the bridge if you bring the treble all the way up. And boy, I mean, you get some spank out of that. Lots of spank. I usually run the treble about halfway off on that. But anyway, this is such a great versatile guitar that this is my overall favorite Telecaster. I could make this thing do pretty much anything I ever wanted to do. It can do country, it can do rock and roll. You know, the amp has a lot to do with it. But this one's great. It's got a nice chunky fat neck on it. It's got the whatever that is, the 10-inch radius switch. I can do fine with the vintage radius, but this one's cool. You know, I like this. I like the flatter radius. I like the way it feels under my hands better. And so this one can be a B or a G bender. It could be a no bender. You know, I'm playing it right now as a no bender when I'm doing those bends. And So I like this guitar. So that's my B-Bender Telecaster. This one. This is another Telecaster. And obviously a butterscotch blonde. I made this guitar. I didn't make the guitar. I put it together out of parts. This neck is a 52 reissue neck. It's an all parts 52 profile neck. I bought this a long time ago to replace the James Burton neck that's on the B-Bender. And I just never got along with that stock James Burton neck. It had a reverse taper, so it got fatter as it went up into here. Man, I tried for a long time to get used to it. I just never could. So I went on eBay, and then again, this is 20 years ago, a long time ago, and I bought this neck. And I put this neck on the B-Bender, and I ran it for quite a while. Then I decided I still didn't get along with it, not on the B-Bender. The B-Bender, you got to hold your chords down, and, I don't know. I just didn't get along with it really, really well. And I was an all-parts dealer, and I thought, I'm going to try some different necks. And so I got the flatter radius, bigger feel neck on there. This one's a little skitty. I mean, it's a 52 reissue neck. Whereas that one, it's got a wider feel to it. Anyway, so I put that neck that's on the B-Bender on there, and wow, man, that was it. I love that neck. My favorite neck on that Telecaster. Then I had this perfectly good 52 reissue neck sitting around with tuners. And I thought, well, that's a shame. It needs a body to go on. So I went on eBay. Every now and then I just kick around, and this body came up. And it was already relics and everything. And I put a bid on. I put a bid of $125 and won. And I got it for like $121 for this body. I thought, wow. And when it came in, I was so impressed by the color that this guy got. I don't know who did it. You can say what you want about relicing, but this guitar is cool. I like it. I never worry about it. I wear a different pattern. This is my wear pattern. He's got it up here. I don't know how you would. I guess you'd be a rock and roll dude up here. I guess Keith would probably do that. But the color was great. I've got the Blackguard book, by Nacho Bandos, and I look at that, and I mean, this color is just so good. So, $120, I took this pickguard off of the B-Bender. This is a 52 reissue Bakelite. I sprayed it with lacquer, just a light lacquer, and I started wearing through that lacquer a little bit. Anyway, I decided that since I had this neck and this body, I'm going to make as close to a 50s as I actually can. So I went out and I got the right screws. I got a bridge with a patent penned serial number on it. I wish I could have got a unique serial number. Like I have the Blackguard book. It would have been cool to match that serial number to this, but I didn't do that. Anyway, I think this bridge actually was on that guitar for a while because it's a 52 reissue bridge. And they quit doing the serial numbers on it after a while, but this one has a serial number on it. So that's kind of cool. It's just got straight, non-compensated brass. Again, I'm pretty sure there's a Fender. I didn't cut the tip. When you do this, the treble screw ends up being really, really long. And if you want to really play the thing, you should cut it down. But I didn't want to do that. So the screw right there, I left that long. I just, everything on here. Oh, yeah. And then on the bridge, those are straight screws. And I snapped one right here, putting it on there. I guess I didn't pre-drill the hole big enough. Anyway, I broke the screw. And I thought, oh, well, there goes my perfect copy. But I thought, what would happen back in the day if that would happen? They wouldn't care about putting the right kind of screw. They just go to the hardware store and put a screw in there. So that's what I did. So this has 3 straight head screws, and we've got 1 Phillips over here. So it's kind of like, it kind of goes with the relic theme to me. That's the kind of thing you would see on an actually used 50s Telecaster. It's got the correct knobs on it. Inside under the cap here, I've got the correct caps. I've got the correct everything. It's cloth wiring. I mean, I did everything I could to make it right. So it's cool. It's not. I don't think it's my best Telecaster, but I have so little money in this guitar. You know, $100 for the body. These are Fender Nocaster Relic pickups, and so that's probably the most expensive thing in this whole guitar. Is I bought these pickups for this guitar because I wanted to try them, and I thought maybe I'd make a good fit for this guitar. I put the rollers in there. I didn't like them in this guitar at all. They lost all the sparkle that they have in that B-bender. So I put Nocasters in here, Relic Nocasters. They look good. They sound good. I just don't have much money in this guitar. And, you know, I thought about, I should sell that. And I thought, why? You know, I get some money from it. Big deal. I love this guitar. If I did nothing, if I never played again, I would hang it on the wall as a Telecaster, a blonde blackguard Telecaster. And what's funny about this one is I went into a Guitar Center in Amarillo, Texas, to try out some amps. I was just playing with the amps. And the store owner saw this guitar, and he comes running over. He wants to know what year it is. He's trying to identify it as a 51, a 52, 53. I said, no. I built this guitar. And he said, no, that's a real 50s. I said, no, I put the guitar together, it's not a real 50s. He was pretty adamant that it was. I was pretty adamant that it wasn't, because if you take it apart, there's an all parts stamp on both the body and the neck. I was really super tempted to go in there and initial, BK on the neck. Like the real 50s would have TG for Tadeo Gomez, and that's one of the things you look for. And I thought, just to be a smart aleck, I should go there and put BK 08. And I may have done that. I don't know. Anyway, but this is the Relic Telecaster. I get this one. I play this one a lot rather than the B-bender because, again, it's just kind of fun to play, And I'm trying to get the neck worn in a little bit better. I did put some a little bit of relicing on the neck, nothing real severe. I want to learn how to do that, and I use a Dremel with a buffing wheel with the strings on, which ruined the set of strings, of course. And I just took that buffing wheel and pressed it on that fret and rubbed it back and forth like that. Then I went down to the garage and got some used motor oil, put it on my fingers, and then I played it with used motor oil or ground that in. A lot of it's come off. It used to be a lot more visible now, so it does come off. But it's got some very light relicing on the neck. I didn't overdo the relicing thing too much. I didn't do anything on the back of the neck. I just left that alone. That's up to me to wear out, to be realistic. And I am getting a little bit of wear right here where my arm lays rather than here. But, it's just cool. Like I said, I'd hang it on the wall, piece of artwork. Here's what it sounds like. And this is Fender Nocaster pickup, so that's no big deal. Here's the bridge, or the neck. Quiet, huh? I think it's a warmer sounding guitar than the B-bender, especially if you like to play rhythm on it. That's a nice rhythm sound, It's not harsh and it's warm, easy to control. So here's the middle. I've got the tone rolled back a little bit. So here's the middle. here's the bridge. So, I think that's a good sound. To me, again, like I said, it's a warmer sound than the B-Bender. It does not launch out quite as well, I don't think. Great rhythm sound, a good country sound. I definitely like that. Good sound to it. It's fun to play. Again, to me, it's like this is as close as I'm ever going to get to a real 50s Telecaster. It's got the right neck. It's got, the right feel, the right weight. So that's why I like to play it. And it's cool looking. I love blonde Telecasters. So that's why this one still lives here. That's why I haven't sold it. I haven't done anything with it. And I'd never be able to build another one. I've had 2 Relics, and I sold one of them. It ended up actually going on tour with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, believe it or not. The guy I showed it to knew them. They ended up buying it from him, and it went on tour with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think this is a better guitar than that one. Yeah, I think the Relic job on this one is better than the other one I had, and the pickups are better, and I built it better than I did that one. So that's this one. So if you see this one sitting on the wall, hanging on the wall, or whatever, that's the purpose of this guitar. It's art. I have probably, $500 in this guitar. It's just cool to look at. If I never played guitar again, I would look at this guitar, because that's what a blonde Blackguard Tele should look like. So, okay, for a guy that doesn't even play electric guitar, I certainly have a lot of electric guitars. Not really sure why that is. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're cheap. They're fun. It's something different. I don't know why I have so many electrics. I do play around with them a lot. I do a lot of soldering. I do a lot of pickups. Do a lot of wiring, playing around, all that sort of thing. So, anyway, this is my Strat. I have one Strat. You may have seen it hanging up on the wall. It comes out of hibernation once in a while. I've had a lot of Strats over the years, starting with the black Japanese Squire that I bought in 1990. Then I didn't have one for a long time. Then I got a Jimmy Vaughn. And then I just had a rapid succession of Stratocasters because I wanted to learn about them, They're interesting things for me. I've never had a real Strat, The Jimmy Vaughn, I think, was the only one I've ever had. There was an actual Fender. I've had a couple of Mexican Fenders. Anyway, never had a real 60s Strat or anything like that. I'm really not a Strat guy. I'm a Tele guy, but you need to have a Stratocaster so you know how they work, what they do, what they don't do, all that kind of thing. So this one. Every guitar I have that I kept has a story behind it, or there's a reason that I kept it, or something. This one started off life as a black Telecaster. And I worked at a bunch of guitars for a local friend of mine, and I never charged him a dime. And then one day he said, take this black Telecaster and just do whatever you want with it, because he didn't like it. So that was his way of paying me for the work that I had done, which was cool, So I took that black Telecaster. I did a lot of things. It's in a video of mine. If you go search my videos for Tele, you'll find a black Telecaster with humbuckers or something. I don't remember what I was doing with it. Anyway, that guitar never really fit a niche. I didn't really like it all that much either, because there was nothing, fun about it. I like my electrics to be classics, so I like them to be fun, or So it was a decent guitar. If I actually played it, it would have been fine. But a friend of mine posted on one of the forums that he had a Strat that he wanted to trade because he really wanted a Telecaster. I said, hey, I'll trade you, if you're interested in this. He had a Mexican Telecaster, a Mexican Stratocaster, so, it wasn't a big deal. It was rosewood fingerboard sunburst. Cool, I like that. So we swapped. And I got it in, and I thought, well, that's good, I'll never change a thing on it. But before too long, I didn't like the tuners. And then, it's just this and that. My friend Dave, who is the owner of Red Bear Picks, was selling a set of Shure pickups. Shure, S-U-H-R. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've never heard it pronounced. He was selling a set of pickups, and I know Dave has a good ear. He's very particular about, so I knew these were good pickups. So I bought them from him, and I stuck them in that Mexican Tele, a Strat. They were really good. I liked them a lot. But I started thinking, God, I want a nitro body, So I watched eBay and this and that. I watched the Stratosphere. He puts all these parts out there. And pretty soon there was a 50s reissue body loaded in sunburst. So I put a bid in there and I won. And there it is. So it's a nitro body and it had the 50s reissue pickups in them, which are fine. But I'll have these Shure pickups, and so I took them out of the Mexican Strat, put them in here. I got a different pick guard so that it looks good. Maybe this is the pick guard that came with it. I don't remember. Anyway, plop my assembly in here. And then I put the Mexican neck on there, and I'm playing that for a while. And I thought, this just isn't right with this Mexican neck on here. The tuner's not right. The decal's not right. It just bugged me. Then Fender finally came out with you could buy their own necks. Everybody's buying copies of them. Warmouth and all parts and all that. They don't have the stickers on them. Finally, Fender starts putting out their own necks, which was a smart move, I think. I bought one immediately. It's a guitar parts, so it's tax deductible for me. And I bought the 60s reissue neck. And I put it on the 50s body, which I know is not accurate, but, I honestly like a 2-color sunburst better than I like the 3-color. So I guess I could consider this a 59 Strat. It's the rare transition model that never got made. Anyway, I finally had that Mexican Telecaster. I replaced the body, and then I replaced the pickups, and then I replaced the neck. And so all of a sudden I had the Mexican Telecaster in parts again. And I had this one completely out of parts. So I put the Mexican Strat together. Strat. Anytime I say Tele, I mean Strat. I put the Strat together again, and I showed it to a guitar student of mine. Gave him a good price on it. But that pretty much paid for a lot of this guitar, So that's why I say just started off as a black Telecaster. And it went through all these changes and all this, and I ended up with this guitar. So, like I said, I've had a lot of Strats. I've had a lot of really good Strats. I've had one that was just like this. It was, I know why I sold it. Yeah, I was trying to think earlier why I sold that guitar. It was some kind of copy. It was something I bought on eBay, and somebody advertised it. It has a definite Stevie Ray Vaughan buy, blah, 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 blah. Price was pretty good. It was $300 or something. So I bought it, and it comes in, and it's got an all-parts neck on it. Nice, chunky, beautiful neck with a linseed oil finish, a bare neck finish on it. Wow, just a really good neck. I don't remember if it had a decal or if I put a decal on it. But I have a friend who's a really good electric guitar player, plays great B bender guitar. He knows his stuff, And he came over to my house one time and played all my guitars and, gave me his comments on them, which, I really appreciated. And he said on that Stratocaster, he said, no matter what you do, keep this neck. I wish I would have taken his advice, but I didn't. And this neck's pretty good. But I sold that for some reason, and I remember now why I sold it, because the body was not sunburst on the back. It was just sprayed black on the back, so it only had a sunburst on the front. And you know, it had nothing to do with the guitar and how I play guitar, and you know, Strat. It wouldn't make any difference whatsoever. But I like to have because I don't do anything with them, and I'm a poser. Because I'm a poser, I like them to have something historically correct about them. You know, again, I'm using these as models for this and that. The belly cut wasn't right on it either. It's in a video of mine. In fact, it's in my Guitar Setup 101 video. It is what do they call that one? An American Vintage 50s reissue. And that one I bought because my friend Tony had it. And he recommended it. He was selling it. And I got that. And everything was very, very, very vintage about it. And then immediately when I picked it up, I got, wow, those contours. I mean, the belly cut was like out to nothing out here. And this curve is so curvy, man, you could hook your arm on it, you know. It was definitely something different from the Mexican and the Jimmy Vaughns and, you know, everything else, even this guitar. The belly cut on that was really something else. So I kind of got an understanding of vintage feel from that. And I ended up selling that guitar, and I'm not sure exactly why I ended up selling it again, because I guess because it was in such pristine condition that I hated to you know, beat it up or anything. It needed to be played. But I should have kept that guitar too. I should have kept all the Strats, and I would never have to buy another one. So I get this thing where I sell my Strat, and then I have seller's remorse, and I end up getting another one. So this is my current Strat. This is probably my favorite, although that one that I sold with the neck that I shouldn't have sold, that one had that neck. I should have kept that neck and put it on this guitar. But this neck is pretty good too. So this is a parts guitar. They're all Fender parts, but it's a parts guitar. It's got shear pickups in it. And, you know, I'm not I'm not a Strat player. The one thing I do to every Strat that I have is I take this second tone and I turn it into a blender. So it blends the neck and the bridge, the neck and the bridge together. And I usually just set it and leave it. So right now it's set at about 8, which is blending just a little bit of whatever pickup. So if I'm on the bridge pickup, it's blending just a little bit of the neck pickup into it. I'll show you, okay? That's the only thing I do, and then I have a master tone and a master volume on this. The standard 5-way switch, no big deal. So let's go up to the neck pickup. I'm going to totally roll out the bridge, okay? Let's give it some volume here. That's all neck. Now I'm going to bring in the bridge to about 5. I'm going to bring in the bridge all the way now. So now they're evenly mixed. So if you go to the bridge now, it's going to sound the same. Pretty close. I don't like that much. I usually roll it off and I put it about 8. So here's the neck. Here's the bridge. Definitely, that's, you know, now you got 2 different tones, and you got just a little bit of the warmth from here coming into the bridge, and vice versa. And it's super easy to just take that out like that. So here's just pure bridge with no neck in it. Bring a little bit of the neck. And I like that. That warms up the bridge and makes it useful. So I like this Strat. I have the tremolo, since I'm looking at it. I'm kind of scattered in my thing. The tremolo, I have 4 springs in it. I have it pulled up against the body. It's not blocked off so that I can put my whammy bar in there. I almost never use a whammy bar. It's just not my way of thinking. Plus, I don't play Strat enough to do it. If I did, I might. But Clapton doesn't, so I'm in good company. I do have that tied down there pretty hard so that I can bend and it doesn't change the pitch of the other string. So. Like that. I want to be able to bend the notes and not have the other ones go out of tune. So, you know. Okay, let's just run through the pickups real quick on this. The volume, set about 9. Everybody's on 9 right now. So here's the neck. Here's the first quack position. Here's the middle. Second quack position. And then the bridge, which you've already heard. It's good. This is a good Strat, you know. The Strat's got some. It definitely sounds different than a Tele to me. A lot different. I play this and I think this is really good. And then I pick up the Telecaster and it's just different. It's like, yeah, you know. But the funny thing is all my favorite players are Strat players. I can't think of anybody. Red Volkart would be my favorite Tele player. But it's funny. You know, Merle Haggard, That's the Way Love Goes. On the studio recording, I heard that solo and I think that is the best Telecaster tone in the world. And it turns out it's Reggie Young playing a Stratocaster. And not only is he playing a Strat, but he was playing it in the quack position. And I read an interview with him, you know, he was talking about that, and they were talking about that sputtering attack he got. And he says, yeah, I was in the studio, and my Strat was sitting there, and I decided to just play it on that recording and see how it sounded. We kept it. My favorite Telecaster tone is a Strat tone in a quack position. So, you know, it just goes to show you, you know, and then all my favorite players, Clapton, Stevie Ray, man, almost everybody plays a Strat. Jimmy Vaughn, Buddy Guy, Eric Johnson. I can't think of any good Tele players. Marty Stewart, you know, Marty Stewart gets a good Tele tone. It's funny, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I love playing Telecasters, and I feel like I get a good sound out of a Telecaster, but on record, Strats. So I should be a better Strat player, but I just like Telecasters. All right, that's my Strat. I hope I hang on to this one. There is nothing wrong with this one. This is a great guitar. So, there it is. All right, just like the Stratocaster, here's a guitar that I have no reason to have other than the fact that I need a model and I need a demonstration on a thing. An Epiphone Les Paul. I'd like to get a real Les Paul someday, but I don't. I have absolutely no reason whatsoever to have a real Les Paul. I don't play electric guitar. I don't play Les Pauls when I play electric guitar. And I have no reason whatsoever to have a $2,500 $5,000 Les Paul. I should get one someday just to see. Oh, I do have a video of me playing an actual 1953 gold top Les Paul, and that I can see. I can see why that would be addictive. That thing was something else. Yeah, the story on that real quick is it was a family in town, in the old town I worked in, and I did a 1969 D18 for them that was actually like 5 serial numbers off of my 1969 D18 that I had at the time. And I was just astonished. I took it in, I did an neck reset on it, got it playing for them, gave it back to her, and they said, well, we got another guitar we'd like for you to look at. Okay. They come down the hall with the case, and I just about passed out. Man, I could see that case coming down the hall, and I said, this is going to be good. And we sat it down and opened it up, and it is a 1953 gold top Les Paul. I just passed out, And half an hour later, when they woke me up off the floor, they said, well, I told them what they had. I said, we'd like to sell it. I said, how much do you think you might want for it? And they said, oh, I don't know, about maybe $3,000 or $4,000. And, if I had been a less scrupulous person, I would have written a check right then and there. But I told them, and I'm not a Les Paul guy, you see, so that's... And I told them, I said, this guitar's worth at least $20,000. I checked it out. It was completely all original. And I was going off the top of my head because I'm not a Les Paul guy. And that was the year. If it had been 2 years later, it had been worth a lot more because the bridge was different. You guys, you guys know more about this than I do. But the 53 had the less desirable bridge setup on it. And did it have P90s? Or did it have humbuckers? It had P90s, didn't it? It's in my video, But when I got home and researched it, I go, okay, the 53 is not quite the Holy Grail. It's the mold from which the Holy Grail was made. It was in really, really good shape. I checked it out. Everything was original. I listed it up on Reverb, and I ended up selling it, and I think I got $20,000 for it. But anyway, I took it home. I asked him, I said, let me take it home because I got to take some pictures, and people are going to ask me questions, and I've got to have the guitar. So they did. They let me take it home, and I played it a couple of times, and it just, good gosh, I can see what the Les Paul thing was all about. That thing was something else. It went into my amp back here, which is a 50s tweed amp. Wow. I wish I had like a Gibson amp or something different to run it through, but wow. So I could see what Les Paul stuff was about, but thank goodness I'm not a Les Paul player, because otherwise I'd be chasing that Holy Grail of PAF humbuckers. And I can understand that, but thank goodness I'm not doing it. So I got this Les Paul. This is my 4th one. All my other ones were sunburst, traditional-looking Epiphones. They had the old-style tuners on them. And for one reason or another, I let them all go, and then I wish I wouldn't have. And I wish I would have had my very first one back, and, all that stuff. So my late son, David, before he passed, we were playing around looking at stuff, and he's looking at guitars. And he really liked the blue ones. And he said, Dad, you need to have a whole collection of blue guitars. And I said, well, Scott Chittering already did that. He has a whole collection of blue guitars. And that might be what we were looking at. But, I thought, okay, So after David passed away, I was looking at some online, just kicking around looking at guitars for fun. And Dave's Guitar Shop had this guitar. And it was used. And they wanted $450 for it. And I thought, I need a Les Paul for the shop. I need a tax deduction. I need a model. I don't have a Les Paul. And I guarantee you, as soon as I sold my other Les Pauls, I had request from somebody that wanted me to rewire the Les Paul and do some work to it and set it up and all that kind of thing. I do that on my guitar to test it out and everything. Then I do it the customer guitar. I didn't have a Les Paul. This was $450. So I thought, yeah, blue guitar. I get David, a blue guitar. So that's the story about why I have a blue and why I wanted a blue one, because David wanted one. So I got one. It came in, and wow, I mean, it was mint condition. I could not believe this was used. It 100% could have sold it as a new guitar. In fact, it was in better condition. There's not a scratch on this thing. So I was happy about that. I set it down on my lap, and I thought, this is the lightest Les Paul I've ever had. Put it on the scale, and no, it's not the lightest. It's actually one of the heaviest I've had. And I thought, why in the world? Then it finally figured out. It hit me. This is the only one I've ever had with the Grover Rotomatic tuners on it. And I cannot stand Rotomatics on a Martin or an acoustic guitar because they're headstock heavy. But what they do on the Les Paul is they balance out the body. Because all my other Les Pauls wanted to do this. And I always felt like I couldn't hold on to them, I had to clamp it around my arm, and then they wanted to fall off my lap, and I hated them for that reason. But this one sits. And I thought, well, I learned something. Maybe there's a time and a place for Grover Rotomatics, and it's on a Les Paul. So, I don't know. So I like this guitar. I was going to do some rewiring on it and mess with it, but this one has the modern electronics on it with the circuit board on it. It's got push-pull knobs here where it turns the humbuckers into single coils, basically. So when I got to looking at it, I thought, forget it, I don't play Les Paul enough for it to make any difference. So I just left everything stopped. I made a new nut because I didn't like the spacing. I never liked the spacing on nut. This has got a little bit wider spacing than stock and equal distance between the strings, which I just have to have. So it makes my B7 chords. Makes my chords just so much better for me. That's the only thing I've done to this. New bone nut, big deal. The rest of it's stock. So these are fun. When you use the Telecaster, even a Strat, and you pick up a Les Paul, man, it's a different beast. At least for me it is. I have to play it. I can't even play electric guitar, but I could see that I would be playing it much, much differently on a Les Paul. I'd be playing with a lot more muting, palm muting, to keep that ring, keep it under control, and I would be letting the notes hang out there a lot longer. So, man, that's sustain, you can't quite. I can't get that out of a Fender guitar. I'm sure you could if you drive your gain up, quite a bit. But just a chord going into an amp really brings out the differences here. There's a great video where a guy compares a Strat Tele Les Paul, and he manipulates stuff however he wants to in order to make them sound similar. He does. I can't tell them apart. Once he really gets to manipulating the effects, the pedals, tone controls, I can't tell them apart. But chord into amp, yeah, man. Sustained for days. What a terrific rhythm instrument, Yeah, that's a rhythm instrument. So every time I get the Les Paul out, I have a lot of fun with it, but it just is not my guitar. If I played electric guitar in band or something, I 100% would find a use for this guitar. So this one, particular one, that's the rhythm. Here's the middle. pretty good. I like that. Here's a lead on the middle. Great sound. Bridge. Good sound. Oh, that snarls. This is fun guitar. Here's what the single coil cut sounds like. So we're going to go up here to the rhythm pickup. Humbucker. Single. Man, I mean, you could do country on that, you know. Pop that down here. Pretty twangy. Let's cut them both. Both of them cut the single cut. Gosh, this guitar's got a lot of tone things in it, and it's fun to play. I mean, I had my justification for having a Les Paul, having this Les Paul. I need one for a model. I need one to play around with pickups and setups, the bridge setup, wrapping the tailpiece. You know, you just need to be familiar with this because I have had Les Pauls, Epiphone Les Pauls. When I came across that 53, I knew something about it. You know, I knew something about it. I knew how it was supposed to work. I knew what the switch was supposed to do, so I could check for shorts and, you know, just things like that. I mean, I picked it up and it wasn't an alien instrument. I had, some familiarity with the Les Paul. And that's the purpose of this. And so, yeah, I should really sit down and play this a lot more because I bet I could really like it, but especially this one. So, anyway, that's enough chit chat on that. That's the Blue Les Paul, David's Les Paul, if you will. Every guitar has a story. A Danelectro. What in the world am I doing with a Danelectro? Well, you know, I was on the cover of Tone Quest Report, and the late editor, owner of the magazine, David Wilson, sent me this guitar. And what happened there was I was on the cover twice, and I ended up pretty much writing the article because David, he said, why don't I call you, we'll do an interview. And I said, I've done lots of interviews, you know. I said, you're just going to have to transcribe it. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to think about my answer, and then a couple hours later I'm going to say, no, I meant to say this, and I meant to add that, and blah, blah, blah. I said, why don't you just send me the questions, and one at a time if you want to. Send me a question one or two at a time, and I will type up my answer and send that to you, and then you can send me a couple more questions, and you can, you know, we can expand on that answer, you know. And that when we get done, it'll be all typed up. And then if I decide I want to change something that I said, you know, a couple hours later, I'll just go in and make my edit and send it off to you. He said, oh, gosh, yeah. So I ended up doing a lot of writing for those two articles. Made sure that it said what I wanted it to say and that sort of thing. Then David sent me a D18. I think the D18 came first. It was a 70s D18. And I overhauled it for him, a complete overhaul as part of the article. I didn't charge him anything on it. That was just a freebie, a grass thing. You could call it promotion if you want, but I was so busy, I don't need promotion. So, but I did that for him. And then all these things started showing up. I did a G28 for him later, and he paid me for that one, which was cool. But all these things started showing up at my door. He sent me speakers, 12-inch speakers to try, my amps and stuff, warehouse speakers. Sent me that AKG CS1000 mic, which was something I wanted. I needed that mic. I've been wanting one forever, and I hadn't said a thing. How did he know that I needed that thing? And then one day this guitar box shows up, and I'm like, I'm not expecting a guitar box, Maybe somebody just sent me something. And it's like, well, ew, nobody's ever done that. Just sent me a guitar, here it is. I open it up, and it's just Danelectro. That is cool, because I know about these guitars. I've never seen one. Never had one in my hands until I opened that box up. And this one obviously has been refinished, but they did a good job on the color. It's got all the little sparkles in it and everything. They had a lot. I know it's been refinished because they left a lot of paint up here on the neck. So I got a razor blade and scraped the paint off of it there, and the decal's not on there. The pinstripe is pretty sloppy. I don't know, maybe that's the way they were originally, But it's got a lot of wear back here. It's worn through the paint. So, I don't know how new of a refinish it was. I don't know. Maybe they came from the factory with that sloppy paint. It's Danelectro. And it's got one pickup on it with the switch back here. So I said, it's going to be like an Esquire, The switch is going to run through various caps, and it's going to disconnect the tone. It's going to connect the tone. It's going to have a built-in cap. I don't know. I went online and I got the schematics for what this was, and I figured this was a 59, give or take, Danelectro, because that's what the schematics fit, the pickguard fit. If anybody knows any different, you can tell me, But it is really interesting. It has a rosewood. It's got a wood. I assume it's rosewood. It's got a wooden bridge right here, so the strings run over there, and there's no way in the world you're going to intonate it. It doesn't have any saddles, no individual saddles. It's an acoustic guitar in that respect, which is what I treated it as. The things are constantly trying to pull out of the top here. And I even drilled it out and put a dowel in there and put the screws in, and that worked pretty good. But I can see it's leaning still a little bit. So someday I'm going to get in there with maybe an ebony dowel, or maybe I'll go and get me a threaded stud and try to fix that up. But I don't know. It's part of the charm, really, these quirks and idiosyncrasies. The spacing up here at the nut was so narrow. It was like, you guys are wasting half the fingerboard. So I made a new nut, and because this one is wood, I went ahead and made an ebony nut. That's the only thing I've done, and I tried to fix that up a little bit, did that. I checked out the pickup, I checked the schematics, I cleaned everything in there because it kind of wasn't working half the time, and it still doesn't work half the time, but it does work the other half of the time. Then I played it, and if I have to learn how to play this thing. Okay, there's the volume, and this is the tone, which is opposite. No, I guess the Telecaster would be the same. Be tone up front and the volume in the back, and then this switch does so. What strikes me about this guitar is how loud it is acoustically. That's loud. I can sit here and play this. Totally acoustically, and actually hear it. And if you know anything about how these are made, it's just a frame, and then it's a masonite cabinet material over the top of it. So it's really a hollow body electric guitar. I mean, they're cheap. What a sound, though. These are so cool. This one's tuned to open G. So for Keith stuff. little sound, you know. Such a good acoustic sound to it. I don't have anything that sounds like this. It's dirty, you know. It's not a clean, clear guitar at all. It's dirty, but what a rock and roll sound. So. It's so cool for that kind of thing. And I keep an open G, like I said, so that this is a guitar that I can come out and just fool around with. It's just like the resonator and the octave mandolin, that kind of thing. Especially like the resonator. It just it's something I don't really know what I'm doing. I've got the action pretty high. I've got the action pretty high on it, so you know you can pick up a slide and you can. To feel. It's not up there where the resonator is. Can't push too hard. But you can do it, you know. So, you know, I played around with that. And it's just something that I just mess around with. Open G is so fun to just see. I tuned a double open G too, by the way. G, G. Those are the same, and the rest of it's a chord, so. Spank. You know, that's what's so fun about this guitar is that get a little reverb on the amp and that thing spanks. So this is a fun guitar. I don't even do anything with it. I mean, I don't mess with the switch. The switch is a capacitor thing. So here's the top position. The middle. Here's the bottom. I don't know what the tone does. I can't hear much different. What a great sound, you know. I think it's unique in that sound. You know, I usually hear, you know, Tom Petty stuff. I hear that quirky kind of sound of this thing. So, a Danelectro, you know. The reason I have this around, it was a gift. Yeah, it was a very, very, very cool. I don't know if it was a thoughtful gift. I don't know if David Wilson said, man, Brian would love to have a Danelectro. But if he had said that, he was right. Because this is something that was just like, this is neat, you know. I would never go out and buy one of these by myself because I don't play electric guitar. And, you know, what in the world am I going to do with this? But this is such a cool guitar. So, and I leave it out. Just see it sitting around back here. Sometimes I get it out, play with it, put it back in the case. You know, like I said, it's kind of a one-trick pony because the way I have it tuned is open G. And so I just get it out when I don't want to think about things, and I sit there and play those kind of those kind of riffs back and forth. You know, licks and riffs. I play those kind of riffs just back and forth, and I just, you know, just make noise, have fun. See what kind of sounds I can come up with. So, all right, Danelectro. Okay, these are my amps. I only have 2 amps these days, and this is the one I use the most. This is a Super Champ X2, and there's my pedal board, which is a Boss ME50, which I never use, and that's a mouse trap sitting over there. And this is my humidifier right here, which is Air Care. It runs almost constantly up here in New Mexico. And this is a good amp. It's a tube, you know, you can go look up the specs, but it's a tube amp with modeling capabilities built into it. It's just a great little bedroom practice amp sort of thing. I actually ended up trading work for that too. I wanted one of those. I mentioned it somewhere. A customer of mine said, oh, I've got one. You got my guitar. I'll just trade you for it. Sure, great. I got no money in that. That's a great amp. I really love that amp. So